Greetings and thanks for watching. Today, we're going to talk about mail merge and references. We expect that you should already be able to create, edit, and format text in a word processor. You should as well be able to work with styles and modify existing styles in a word processor. As a quick recap, we create documents by using a word processor. When we open a word processor, we type using our keyboard, and with the help of a mouse, we edit. Editing means reading through, making necessary corrections to ensure that what we typed is what we wanted to type. Then, we have to make it look good by formatting. We use tools found on the ribbon to format our documents. Styles refers to a collection of formatting instructions used to ease the formatting of a document made up of many pages. You can use styles for headings, subheadings, body text, captions, and a lot more. You can find links to our lesson on using styles in the video description below. Right, now on to our working document. This is going to be our practice document. This document is a document we used previously in order to practice how to use styles. Today we're going to continue with this. On the References tab, the References tab is one of the tabs that is found on your ribbon. On the References tab, you have many groups. You have the Table of Contents group, you have the Footnotes group, you have the Research group, the Citations and Bibliography group, the Captions group, the Index, Table of Authorities group as well. Today, we're going to focus on three of these groups. We're going to pick the Table of Contents group, the Citations and Bibliography group, and the Captions group. We'll see how these groups function, and we are expecting that you can extend the knowledge that you acquire from using these groups to the other groups like the Footnotes group, the Research group, the Index group, and the Table of Authorities group. Now let's start off with the Table of Contents group. In the Table of Contents group, you have various tools. You have the Table of Contents tool, you have the Add Text tool, and the Update Table tool. Now, for you to use this Table of Contents group, you must first of all ensure that your document was typed using styles. If styles were not used in your document, then the Table of Contents group will not help you. Once your document is typed and made up of styles and including the heading styles, let's go back to our Home tab. On our Home tab, let's check out the styles. We have the various styles. We have the Heading 1 style and the Heading 2 style. When we are sure, we click on any of the text in our document. When I click on the dedication heading, I notice that the dedication is a Heading 1. When I go down to the body of my document, I find out that Chapter 1 is Heading 1. Let's check out Introduction. When I highlight Introduction, I notice that Introduction is Heading 2. This means, therefore, that I'm set to go with my reference tab in the Table of Contents group. Now I'm going to take my insertion point. I'll put my insertion point where I want my Table of Contents to enter. When my insertion point is found where I want my Table of Contents to enter, I'm going to go ahead to click on Table of Contents. In the Table of Contents group, I'm going to have this Table of Contents tool. On this Table of Contents tool, when I click on it, it's going to extend. When it will extend, it will give me the various Table of Content options. You have the Automatic Table of Content 1 and the Automatic Table of Content 2. Watch out and see how this is going to turn out. We have Automatic Table 1 and Automatic Table 2. Then we also have Manual Table. Let's check out how these controls are going to affect our work. We can also have more tables of contents from office.com. That is if you're working online. We can have custom table of contents, and we can as well use this control to remove table of contents. I'll go ahead and click on Automatic Table 1. When I click on Automatic Table 1, what it will do is it's going to produce a beautiful table of contents for me. It will give me all the items I'd highlighted to be on my table of contents with their corresponding page numbers. Here you check out that dedication is found on page 1. Acknowledgement on page 1, table of contents also on page 1, list of figures and so on, all found on page 1. Then we also have general introduction. These are the items that I collected. For you to be successful with this table of content tool, you must make sure that you have worked with styles, and that among the styles that you have used, there is heading 1 and heading 2. With this automatic table of contents, you see how it aligns my table of content items. My items are aligned in order. These ones are the heading 1 items, and the heading 2 items start at a little indent from my margin where the table of content 1 items, where the heading 1 items begin. That is how it exactly happens. Now, if for one reason or another, we went ahead to change some items in this table of content, like our dedication page. Our dedication page is supposed to be a page on its own. I'm going to use the Control and Enter key to send the acknowledgement page to the next page. I'll modify my table of content and send also to the next page. Then I'll also send list of figures to the next page, so that my list of figures will be on a page on its own, my list of tables a page on its own, and my list of abbreviations a page on its own. When that is done, these are little adjustments and the modifications that I've made after inserting my table of content. The page numbers will not update on its own, but I'll now have to go back and do the update automatically. Look at this. We realize that my list of tables is now found on page number 4. On page number 5, my list of figures is found on page number 5. When I check this out, I notice that that's not what is exactly found on my table of contents. On my table of content, my list of tables is still found on page 1. That is why I need to go ahead and use this update tool. This update table tool found in the table of contents group will permit me to update my table of contents. When I click on it, I will choose whether I want to update the entire table or I want to update page numbers only. In this case, I want to go ahead and update only page numbers. I'll hit on OK. When I hit on OK, you notice that the table of content numbers, the page numbers for the various items, including acknowledgement, table of contents, list of figures, list of tables, abbreviations, abstract, and resume, they all changes. That is exactly how you go ahead to do that. Then you look at this. Our chapter 1 begins on page 9, and that is not what we wanted. We want our chapter 1 to begin on page 2. I'm going to go down to where my chapter 1 general introduction begins, and when I'm there, I'll click my cursor there. When I click my cursor there, I'll format the page numbers. When I format the page numbers, I'll take to begin at 1. When I take that it should begin at 1, that is done, and that is looking quite well, and that's exactly what I wanted to do. Now, when that is done and I have page 1 on my general introduction page, I will now need to as well update my table of contents again, because my chapter 1 is on page 9, which is not what I wanted to have. I'll go back to my reference tab in the table of contents group, and I'll click on this update table tool. This update table tool will permit me to update the page numbers or update the entire table. I want to update the page numbers only. So in this case, observe to see that my general introduction will now change to page 1, and all the other pages will change because it will now begin from 1 and not continuing from 9. Let me hit OK and we see. Check that out. You see that it changes to 1. That's exactly what your update table helps you to do. But take note of the fact that unless you have used styles and you have used either heading 1 or the heading 2 styles, you will not be able to insert your table of contents automatically. Right, that is about the table of contents group. Now let's go over to our citations and bibliography group. In the citations and bibliography group, we have quite a number of tools. We have the insert citation tool, we have the manage sources tool, we have the style tool, and we have the bibliography tool. Now these tools, they permit you to do different things. For example, we begin with the insert citation tool. This insert citation tool will permit you to insert a citation where there is a citation. Remember that when you use anybody's material in your document, you have to insert or you have to cite that source. For example, this is a source I cited already. If I want to insert a citation here, I'm going to go ahead and click on the insert citation tool. When I click on this insert citation tool, it's going to produce a list of authors that I've used in producing my document. I can go ahead and click on any of these authors. Remember that these authors are authors that are collected in managing source. On my managed source tool, I could add authors. So I can now go ahead and select any of these authors here. When I select any of these authors, it's going to insert the citation here. And remember, students have difficulties inserting citations in their documents because just to cite a book is not always easy. Now we go ahead and that's how you insert a citation. We can manage sources. Managing sources will open a managed source dialog box. This source manager contains the master list and the current list. We can take a source either from the master list to the current list, or you delete a source altogether. On this manage source dialog, we can manage our sources. We can add sources. If we want to add sources, we're going to use these tools in the middle. We can add a new source. We can edit an existing source. We can delete a source, as well as we can copy a source. So we can copy a source, we can delete a source, we can edit, and we can add a new source. Let me hit on new source and we see the controls that we will have. When I click on this new source, it's going to open a create source dialog. On this create source dialog, I can type the type of the source. In this dialog, in this drop down menu, I can select whether it's a book selection, a journal article, an article in a periodical, conference proceedings, or you have quite a good number of sources here. You even have the internet source. Remember that when you take internet source, is going to give you the items or the elements that you need to be able to cite a source from the internet. Let's go ahead and take a website and we see what is going to come out. I'm going to take a website. When I click on a website, it's going to go ahead to give me the items that I need. I need the author of this I need the author of that article. I need the name of the web page. I need the name of the website. Remember that a web page is different from a website. I need the year that I access that website, the month, the day, and the website address. This is very important, and these are the items that you need to cite a website in your document. Let's go ahead and check some other item. Let's check a book. If you want to cite a book, what are the things that you need to cite that book? Let's click on this book. When I select a book, you realize that we need the author, we need the title, we need the year, the city, and the publisher. When all of this has been done, we're going to hit on OK. I'm not going to collect or include any source here. I'm just going to click on cancel. Let me take a source here that I've added. Let me take this first one. The first one, I'm going to click on this. When I click on it, I'll take edit. When I click on edit, it's going to open the edit source dialog. On the edit source dialog, it tells us that that is a report. That is a report, and we have given the name of the author. We have given the title of the report, the year it was published, the publisher, and the city in which it was published. When that is all done, we can hit on OK. When we hit on OK, we can close this edit source dialog. When we close this edit source dialog, we can now go ahead and insert our citations wherever we desire to insert a citation. Remember that when you add a source, when you add a source on this managed source, the source is going to appear in this insert citation. You notice that these are the sources that are found in this managed source dialog. We have this Kana, we have this Prow, and we have this University. When we close this and we click on insert citation, we have all those sources appearing here. We can add a source down here, and when we click on this add source, it's going to open our create source dialog. This create source dialog is almost the same as the managed source that we'll take here, and we click on new. When we click on new, it opens the create source dialog. It means that we can have a shortcut to the create source dialog. A shortcut to the create source dialog will be found on this insert citation tool, and we click on add source. When we click on add source, it's going to open the create source dialog. Then we now add our sources. We now insert our citations as we desire. When that has been all done, we now go down to where our references is found. When we take our insertion point to where our reference is found, we're going to click on bibliography. When I click on bibliography, it will give me the options to insert my bibliography. I can go ahead and click on any one that I like. The first one gives the title bibliography. The second one gives the title references. The third one gives the title works cited. I can go ahead and choose any one that I like, depending on what my supervisor said I should use. I can go ahead and now click on bibliography. When I click on bibliography, it's going to give my bibliography. My bibliography appears there, and I can now delete the title I gave as references. I now have my bibliography. My bibliography appears, and that is according to the APA style. This is according to the APA style. Now, if my supervisor requested that I use a different style other than the APA style, then I'll go ahead and click here and I'll change the style. You can change the style here to any other style that you desire. Let's try it and check this out. I can select the Harvard style. When I select the Harvard style, you see that it changes the order, the way in which my references have been given. I can also change it and take some other style. I can take this Chicago style. When I click on the Chicago style, observe to see how my reference or my bibliography will change. Check that out. My bibliography changes, so I can go back to my APA as the need may be. And you see it changes as well. That is exactly what you do, and that is exactly how the citations and bibliography group works. Right, let's now move on to the captions group. In the captions group has the tools insert caption, insert table of figures, update table, and cross-reference. Let's check out how to insert caption. To insert caption, when you click on insert caption, the insert caption dialog will open. On the insert caption dialog, you'll be able to change the label. The label can either be an equation, a table, or a figure. We're going to go ahead and we select a table, because in this case we have a table. Then when we have this table is known as MS window elements. I'm going to cut this out. When I cut this out, I want to insert a label for this table. I'm going to go ahead and click on insert caption. Remember that you're not supposed to insert the labels for your tables, your figures, and your equations manually, because when you do them manually, you have difficulties. You may have an error in giving the numbers to it. You may also have difficulties when the supervisor requests that you should give the list of tables or a list of figures. But when you use the insert caption here, the insert caption tool is going to permit you to be able to insert your list of figures and list of tables thereafter very comfortably. Now let me click on this insert caption. It tells me that this is figure 3. No, I don't want to insert a figure. It's saying figure 3 because I already have 2 figures that I've inserted. I want to insert a table. Let's see how that turns out. It gives me table 1. It means that this is the first table I'm inserting. If it was a second table, then it will obviously tell me that it's a second table. And remember that the tables will be arranged. It means that if you have a table in page 4 and you forgot inserting a caption for a table in page 1, when you go back and insert a table, the caption for the table in page 1, it will tell you that that is table 1, and it will adjust the caption for the table in page 4 to table 2. That is the advantage of using captions. I can go ahead and now give a space and I'll put the name of MS window elements. That is exactly what that table is. And when that is done, I can say OK. When I hit OK, it gives me the caption for that table. And that is exactly what I wanted to do. And that is what I've done. And you go ahead and you do same for figures, for tables, and for all the other elements. That is exactly what you should do, and that is exactly what it will help you to do. Now, this is a figure here. If I remove this figure here, I want to add a figure. I'll go ahead and insert my citation. Remember that when you are inserting a citation, your citation should either be a table, a figure, or an equation. This is a figure. I'll take the figure and I'll insert my citation there. When I click on OK, it gives me my citation there. That has been done. And now the insert table of figures or figures a tool will permit me now to fill my list of figures and my list of tables. I'm going to go up to where I have list of tables. In my list of tables, I'll put my insertion point there. When my insertion point is blinking there, I'll go to insert table of figures in the captions group. I'll click on it. When I click on it, it's going to give me a dialog. On this table of figures dialog, I can now select the caption label that I want to insert. I want to insert list of tables. I'll now click on this caption here and take table. When I take table, I hit on OK. When I hit on OK, I expect that I should pick all the tables that are found in my document, give the tables, and give their page numbers. You see how this looks quite good. It's quite interesting. And if I want to update it, if I've done some modifications and maybe the page numbers have changed, just like we updated our table of content, we can as well update this table. If anything has changed, we can update the table and update only the page numbers only. Then we hit OK, and that is done. Then I go up to where I have my list of figures. I'll do the same. I will insert table of figures. When I hit on that, this time around the caption is figures, so I'll allow it at figures, and I'll hit on OK. Always make sure that you take this caption, the caption label, all the other settings, you can leave them to default. Hope you remember what default settings are. Default settings are the settings that your machine comes with or your word processor comes with, and unless you change, they are going to be there. So you can allow the other settings because the other settings look quite good. So I'm going to hit on OK. When I hit on OK, I expect that I should pick all the figures in my labeling and present them here. That is it. It gives me 2 figures that it has seen in my document. There are 2 figures there, figure 1 and figure 2, and the figure 1 does not have the labeling. If I put my blinking crystal on it and I press enter, it's going to take me to figure 1, and I can then go ahead and adjust it. Right, that is all about the reference tab. We're going to find time to come back to our footnotes in the footnotes group, the research group, the index group, and the table of authorities group. But for now, this is quite okay. Go ahead and use the table of contents group, the citations and bibliography group, and the captions group.